You know, be aware of each breath. People who spend their whole life fighting one mental image after another, they're not really living. You know, they're living in hell. They're creating their own hell, pulling hell into their life in each moment by fighting against it with these desires of what you would rather be experiencing. You can only experience love if you let go into it. I know a lot of people who say, I'm trying to be happy, or, you know, I'm trying to hold on to this feeling of bliss. That's the thing. You can't hold on to something that you view as just another feeling. It has to be recognized, rather, that when everything is let go, bliss comes out, because that's what you are naturally. So let go of all of that fighting. See how damaging it's been throughout the years to your life. Every situation where you create these desires to be somewhere else yields another situation where you'll create another desire to be somewhere else. It's a vicious cycle. Because the more energy you give to this process, the more that you create it in your life, the more that you struggle and create hell. So enlightenment is about letting go of that, letting it float away, not giving it any mind whatsoever. Whatever you give attention to is your sacred choice, your sacred energy. Think about it. There's only one you. There's only one you, and that's the only thing that there is. And when I say you, I don't mean separate from me. I mean you in the sense of what we are, life itself. And what you devote your attention to is so sacred. Are you going to devote it to, you know, friggin' Paris Hilton, or friggin' the Dodger game, you know? Are you going to devote it to Slipknot or death metal or whatever it might be? This is your sacred attention, your sacred gift. So why waste it by throwing it away? Realize that there's nothing there. Next time you catch yourself doing that struggle in the mind of maybe I should do this, or maybe I should do that, or maybe I should be here, or maybe I shouldn't have done that, remember that that I that you're creating in your mind is not real. It's a complete fictional character. It's the mind who thinks that it's separate than everything else, which has been made into an identity on top of the original identity, which uses the identity to get what it wants. This is the ego. The ego will always create problems because it's not real, and problems are not real. Let yourself exist. Stop fighting against your mind for the sake of some illusionary big brother figure out with a shiny hat and glasses somewhere and a baton ready to beat you if you dare stop for a second from your 9-to-5 job and relax. Now, I'm not pretending that this process ends like in a snap or overnight, because of the pure amount of attention that we've given it for so many years. It takes a little while to let it drift away. But you have to let it drift away. I'm reminded of that scene in Titanic where that woman at the end hanging on to Leonardo DiCaprio. No, don't go! Let Leonardo go. Drift into the ocean and be free by your own self. Let go of the extra baggage of the ego. Moment to moment, day by day, let it subside. Let peace become who you are. Don't try to be a peaceful person. Realize that you are peace itself. Don't try to be a happy person. Realize that you are happiness itself. Everything else is an illusion. Everything else is a fictional assortment of ideas and thoughts and narratives which have been woven into a tapestry of reality but does not exist anywhere other than the illusory mind. Whose mind is it? Is the question. Whose thoughts are they? Is the question. Constantly remind yourself that you're not separate. When you have these thoughts, it's always in terms of separation. It's you who are separate from the world being forced to fight against it. Whenever that the mind is at its thing, it's always expressing in duality. Meaning that I am not something and I have to stress in order to get it. That's what I'm talking about, duality. When in actuality there's only the unified self, who can be anywhere, do anything that they please. So anytime that you start thinking, oh, maybe I should do this, or maybe I've been doing this, or maybe I'm bad, or maybe I'm good, or whatever it might be, this is always duality. Because you're saying, okay, I am good, or I am bad, and everybody else is good, or everybody else is bad. Whatever it might be, it's just like the whole damn way shower thing. You're expressing in duality. You're saying you are a way shower, and everyone else is not. So you can't have unity if you're thinking in duality. And I mean, this is so essential. If you're thinking of you as one thing and someone else as another thing, then you're still living in the ego. You're still trapped by the mind. Enlightenment is reintegration into the great self, the one supreme self, who's not mind, who's not the body, who's not the images in the mind. Rather, it's all that is. The space from where I'm sitting now, not my chair here, not my sofa, rather, not my mind, but the space where my heart is sitting, is a space where your heart is sitting, is a space where my dog's heart over here is sitting. It's just one space. The illusion of the distance between our spaces is just a matter of convenience. Think about that for a second, really. The space where my consciousness sits is the heart of all things. The space where your consciousness sits is the same as where my consciousness sits. They're in two places at the same time. In fact, infinite places at infinite times, because there is no such thing as that place other than where it is everywhere. In other words, imagine it like Alan Watts gave the analogy of a multidimensional spiderweb covered in dew. Each dew droplet contains the reflection of each other droplet. So that space where your consciousness is contains the reflection of every other consciousness, which is really one. So there's absolutely no separation. The mind, the thoughts, are a process by which the self excretes reality. So over time, your thoughts, your mind has turned into this physical form, this physical body, because that's the nature of the universe. And we think that we're separate from everything else because we're sitting in this body. and because no one has told us